Hey, Olive, Arlo, and Frank. Grandpa coming to you from the living room in Jack's Beach. And next week, Arlo, you're going to be here for 3 days, 2.5 days, kind of. Anyway, today we're going to pick up again in the Net Bible, Reader's Edition, Genesis chapter 34. And we're going to look at Dinah, or Dinah, however you want to say it, and the Shechemites. This is a kind of a dark chapter here. We see that the children of Jacob have learned a lot from Jacob, and not good stuff. Anyway, now Dinah, Leah's daughter, whom she bore to Jacob, went to meet the young women of the land. And so they're there. They're in these people's land. They're not in their land yet. If you recall, Jacob went like, yeah, you go ahead. I'll be right there. And then he went to some place, I think it was called Sukkah or Sukkot, and he hung out there and didn't go to where he said he was going to be. So Dinah went out to just hang out with the young women, because as far as we know, this is the only female descendant of Jacob. When Shechem, son of Hamor, the Hivite, who ruled that area, saw her, he grabbed her, forced himself on her, and sexually assaulted her. Then he became very attached to Dinah, Jacob's daughter. He fell in love with the young woman and spoke romantically to her. Well, he should have thought about that before he raped her, but it was a different world back then. Shechem said to his father Hamor, "Acquire this young girl as my wife." When Jacob heard that Shechem had violated his daughter Dinah, his sons were with the livestock in the field. So Jacob remained silent until they came in. Then Shechem's father Hamor went to speak with Jacob about Dinah. Now Jacob's sons had come in from the field when they heard the news. They were offended and very angry because Shechem had disgraced Israel by sexually assaulting Jacob's daughter, a crime that should not be committed. And that's true. It shouldn't have been committed. But Hamor made this appeal to them. My son Shechem is in love with your daughter. Please give her to him as his wife. Intermarry with us. Let us marry your daughters and take our daughters as your wives for yourselves. You may live among us, and the land will be open to you. Live in it, travel freely in it, and acquire property in it. So it's like, hey, this is a bad thing that he did to your daughter, but he wants to make it right. So let's make it right, and let's all get along. You live with us. We're not going to mess with you. You don't mess with us. You have all the rights of a citizen of this area. Then Shechem said to Dinah's father and brothers, "Let me find favor in your sight, and whatever you require of me, I'll give. You can make the bride price and the gift I must bring very expensive, and I'll give whatever you ask of me. Just give me the young woman as my wife." Jacob's sons answered Shechem and his father Hamor deceitfully when they spoke, because Shechem had violated their sister Dinah. So they're mad. And they're going like, okay, yeah, we'll make a deal with you, and here it is. They said to them, we cannot give our sister to a man who is not circumcised, for it would be a disgrace to us. And in a way, that's true. In a way, it's true, but in a way, it's not true. And I'm not going to get into the whole thing here. The children of Israel were supposed to be circumcised. 8 days old, get circumcised. We will give you our consent on this one condition. You must become like us by circumcising all your males. Then we will give you our daughters to marry, and we will take your daughters as wives for ourselves, and we will live among you and become one people. But if you do not agree to our terms by being circumcised, then we will take our sister and depart. So Jacob was very wealthy. Now Jacob's not in on this thing here. This is his kids, his sons, and I'm sure Reuben's he's the oldest, so I'm sure he's like in the middle of it. And he's giving them an ultimatum. Every one of you has to get circumcised, because that's what we need to do. But they had another reason for that, and we'll get to that. Their offer pleased Hamor and his son Shechem. The young man did not delay in doing what they asked, because he wanted Jacob's daughter Dinah badly. Now, he was more important than anyone in his father's household. So Hamor and his son Shechem went to the gate of their city and spoke to the men of their city. These men are at peace with us, so let them live in the land and travel freely in it, for the land is wide enough for them. We will take their daughters for wives, and we will give them our daughters to marry. Only on this one condition will these men consent to live with us and become one people. And remember this, they can't become one people. When they get to the promised land, you're going to see that there's already people there, and they're not supposed to become one people with them. They demand that every male among us be circumcised, just as they are circumcised. If we do so, won't their livestock, their property, and all their animals become ours? So we see that it's not like these folks are innocent. They're gone. Jacob's really, really wealthy. And so all that wealth is going to become ours in a way. So let's consent to their demands so they will live among us. All the men who assembled at the city gate agreed with Hamor and his son Shechem. Every male who assembled at the city gate was circumcised in 3 days when they were still in pain. And here's the thing. Most people get circumcised when they're newborn babies. Just a couple days after being born, take the foreskin off. And they're not doing a lot of moving around anyway. So they're just being babies and they're in pain, but it goes away after a while. But a full-grown adult male getting circumcised, there are several days that you can't even walk. So what's going to happen now? Every male who assembled at the city gate was circumcised. In 3 days, when they were still in pain, 2 of Jacob's sons, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, each took his sword and went to the unsuspecting city and slaughtered every male. So 2 guys went in, and there were hundreds of these guys there, but they couldn't defend themselves. They couldn't even walk. They killed Hamor and his son Shechem with the sword, took Dinah from Shechem's house, and left. Jacob's sons killed them and looted the city because their sister had been violated. They took their flocks, herds, and donkeys, as well as everything in the city in the surrounding fields. They captured as plunder all their wealth, all their little ones, and their wives, including everything in the houses. So they're like thugs. Then Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, "You have brought ruin on me by making me a foul odor among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites. I am few in number." And he's talking about we. We are few in number, but he's saying I, because he's the head of the clan. "They will join forces against me and attack me, and both I and my family will be destroyed." But Simeon and Levi replied, "Should he treat our sister like a common prostitute?" So this is one of these things that you'll wrestle with. Were they right in doing this? Well, she got raped. And so they weren't satisfied that, hey, yeah, well, she got raped, but now the guy wants to make it okay. But then what they did wasn't just against Shechem. He's the guy that raped her. They killed all the men, took all their wives, made them their wives, slaves, basically. Took their kids and their animals, any other property inside their houses. And Jacob's like, "Oh man, what did you do to me? What did you do to me? Now they're going to come after me." The rest of the people there, not Shechem's village, all the rest of the Canaanites in the area. And even where they're going to, in the promised land, that's filled with Canaanites. So Jacob's not happy. Anyway, next time we're going to take a look at them finally returning back to Bethel from where Jacob started. Until then, peace out.